Yassified. So, Queer Pride Month is almost over, and I love hearing from mostly white, straight people, privileged people no less. Well, when's my straight pride month? When's my white pride month? It's like, girl, it's every fucking month. You're the majority. Of course, you don't need a fucking month. Well, it's arguable if they're the color majority, but they think they are, so there's that. And what bothers me is following Queer Pride Month, which is June in America. I know it's different. I don't understand why it's different, but it's different in the UK. Then we have Disability Pride Month, which seems to be the same in the UK. And then here we have a Trans History Month, which I'm dubbing Trans Pride Month in August. California declared that last year, so it's only a year old. Who needs more pride? I think an order would be disabled people, trans people, people of color, and then other queer people. Because the world right now, people, oh my God. But what kind of bothers me, I'm very curious to see what will happen with trans pride, as we know how evil people are against trans people in the United States. It doesn't feel safe to do trans pride in most of the country. But disabled pride, which sometimes you just can't straight up hide you're disabled. I mean, I know there's a lot of, how did Joseph, that one fellow who uses a wheelchair, he put it, the sneaky creepies, where you're disabled but you can hide it. And not everybody's that, but I've only heard about Disability Month. I know it goes back, I think, about 10 years, but I've only heard about it mostly in disabled media the last, I'd say, 3 years. And it's like this big, and then it gets just like that. Like, it's so tiny. And, we don't get parades. We don't get like, oh, here's your disabled merch. Well, not Target anymore, but Walmart or some shit. Barely anything. In fact, the only thing I've seen in any mass store of any kind would be Joann's has a disability matters patch, which they don't carry in most stores. Only one, by the way, and that was last year, so I don't know what they're going to do this year. But it's like, even the smaller stores, if they're not disability minded, like they're not like Nia walk sticks, you're not going to go into some little boutique almost assuredly and find like little disability pride pins or some shit, because disability is still a dirty word in the United States and most of the English speaking world, and God knows for the non-English speaking world. But based on Sweden sacrificing us to COVID, probably not great. Well, they speak English too, but you get my point. So this is part of why I want a disabled revolt. Queer pride was not always this. If you're under 30, even under 20, you would not remember. But they've been doing pride since the Stonewall riots, and they tried a few times before that, and they'd usually be brutally attacked. After Stonewall, they kind of came together, and they really started marching quite often, very visibly, because remember, back in the day, much like disability, you could be fired for being queer. You could lose benefits, family, even where you lived, because there was no protections for being queer. Technically, there are protections like for being trans, but I've yet to see them be enforced. And there are technically protections if you're disabled, but only if you can prove you were lost whatever you had because you were disabled. Good luck with that. It takes a lawyer, and like, we have money. So it's like, if you work at, I've seen a lot of things about white collar jobs, but my people don't come from white collar jobs, and a lot of disabled people would be blue collar. So if we go to a job, if we don't disclose we're disabled and they find out afterwards, most of the country is a right to work state. You can then lose your job because they'll find some reason that they feel they can verify. Oh, you hit the wrong button once. Well, nah. Oh, well, you wanted to sit and it really put off customers. You have to prove that's strictly based on disability. It's not easy. And I can only think in my whole life of one place, even counting California, where I seen disability actually supported. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I really hate the Midwest. But it's a Iowan and occasionally Minnesotan grocery store, Hy-Vee. I've seen deaf people work the cash wraps. I've seen people who need seated work the cash wraps. That's wonderful. And it's supposedly Hy-Vee's employee owned, but I don't trust red states, so I don't know why they're allowing that. It's only one location, so I can't promise everywhere, but it's nice to see. I just want to remind everybody, on Disabled Eve, we need to stand up for ourselves. We need to quit just being like, I'm too tired. Because yes, I'm fucking tired. Of course I am. Look at me. Well, look at me without the yesified. I am fucking tired. But we have to do something. This way of living is not sustainable. We have to do something. And unfortunately, that includes the very scary world of outing ourselves if we're safe enough. I know it's not always safe. We need to be visible. We need to go into local boutiques or something and say, hey, I know disability pride merch. I'd love to see that. They don't think of that. We have to be loud because trust me, I can remember before 2012 when federal gay marriage was allowed, you didn't see queer pride merch in most big stores. You didn't see it everywhere. In fact, the few times at Hot Topic I'd see pins with queer flags, I was really tickled. I'm talking like 2002. Yes, I live very rurally. It might have been different in LA, but I think I can say most of rural hell, it was not common at all. In the portal to hell I grew up in, which is in a very red, they fucking love Steve King, noted Nazi, I think he was a senator. There's a little gift shop that has a pride flag, and there was also a little chapel ran by gay people who had a pride flag. The chapel, as far as I know, is left alone because it was a town of 400. It'd probably be pretty easy to pinpoint, but it went out of business. And then the gift shop, last I knew, was still there and had been there like 15 years. And almost every month on the dot, my friend told me, someone takes down that pride flag and burns it. And that's like, they just accept that. They don't try to find out who, they don't put cameras. I don't blame them because it could be the sheriff. I wouldn't be shocked. So you gotta keep standing up if you're safe enough.